Many paths, one goal. Those who responded to God's call came from many walks of life. Graduates to working professionals coming from all around the globe. They have heard God calling them at different times in different ways. Let us find out how different people responded to God's call.
It is a tradition of faith nourishment, inasmuch as it opens to us an opportunity to know more about the Lord.
Reverend Bernadette Amistoso Morales had a promising career as a registered nurse. After placing 18th in the 1992 nursing licensure exam, she worked full-time at Makati Medical Center. Just as everything seemed to be a start of a paved path, a fresh wind blew her to another direction.
I never planned to be a pastor. I studied nursing, I graduated, I was already working, and I was already on my 3rd year of nursing.
Doubts and questions were always on the way, but light was well shed on the answers. Pastor Bernie then decided to enter the seminary. She was ordained in 2004.
But I was consciously in the thought that it was temporary, that I would eventually go back to nursing, maybe after a year, just, you know. But the year became 3 years, became 3 years, 4 years. I never went back.
It has been about 16 years already of her service to the Lord. Pastor Bernie gave birth to 2 little angels, 10-year-old Kaki and 7-year-old Red. Although she wanted at least one of her kids to follow her footsteps, she says she never forced them to do so. The calling must come from within. Looking back, she does not have any regrets of leaving her profession as a nurse to heed God's call. She only wishes that others who are called will respond as well.
The thing is for them to be in prayer, for people to really spend time in prayer, really asking the Lord to speak to them.
And who could even say that being a pastor is only about praying 24/7? Pastor Bernie can still do the things she loves to do. She runs in marathons and writes in a column for a local newspaper. But on top of it all, she is a loving wife and a mother. Truly, by answering God's call, God has answered her prayers as well. But not all people who are called have responded positively, and not all who have responded were called. Neil Edmund Aliena is a junior management student of Silliman University. Up front, he is a normal lad who seems like a perfect fit to his environment. But who would have thought that years ago, he was one of the young men who has faced the road less traveled, the life of a seminarian.
God indeed is very mysterious. No one knows where He wants us to be. No one knows what path of life we're going to cross. I followed God's call, but in a different way.
Being the only son in a very devoted Catholic family, uncertainties rose by the time he was about to graduate.
They asked me if do I want to study in a seminary wherein my cousins studied there also. So out of my curious mind, I said yes.
Neil then sought for God's guidance, having been torn on the journey he would have for the years to come.
Mother this time doesn't want me to proceed because first she said that I can't do it. I can't be a priest. I can't be awake at the morning. Like something like that then. Also, I'm just the only son of the family. Maybe she wants to have an apo.
After 3 years in college, Neil does not close his doors to the possibility of going back to the home which adopted him a few years back. Right now, he is getting the best of his experiences as a college student. He still plays basketball like how he did in the seminary. He jokes around with his friends, and he goes to classes. But most importantly, he is still living as a faithful follower of God. He still does not say the Mass, as how he pictured himself to be a few years ago. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't celebrate and glorify God. Indeed, there is only one call, but there are millions of ways to answer it. Pastor Bernie and Neil are two examples out of the millions who continue to serve God in the way they could best do so.
Good,